Y'all got to be a lot more excited than this. We're talking about entrepreneurship. We're talking about scaling. We're talking about making money. We're in the most amazing co-working space in all the region. Yeah. Can we give Spark a round of applause, please?
For hosting. This
place is amazing.
Amazing.
Come on, we got Ballpark, we got Riverfront, we got the Arch, we got Cardinal Way. Man, this is freaking awesome. I know I'm excited. If you guys don't get nothing out of this, I am.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. That's for sure. So listen, everyone, we're going to get into it a little bit. Thank you all for being here, okay? But we do like to get to know who we're talking to just a little bit.
Who's
Is that all right?
Room?
Who be up in here?
Who's in the room?
How do you say it the St. Louis way? Who in her?
Who in her?
Who in her?
Who in her?
It's not how I really talk, but it's fun. It's fun. I came home from college and my mom said, "You're talking all kinds of different ways. You're supposed to be educated." I said, "But because I am educated, I can talk any way I want to because I know the right way to do it. I'm not ignorant. I'm just having fun." Is that cool?
Yes.
All right. So we're going to get into it. So if you guys don't mind, we'd love to go around the room and find out who you guys are. Like, what's your name and what's the name of your business? And with a sentence or two, what do you do? Is that cool? And we do that? This is not a lively bunch, but you will be by the end.
Yeah, you won't want to leave.
All right? Okay, who'd like to go first? Oh, not a problem. Go right on ahead, Chris. Yeah, please stand. No mic, though.
All right.
Okay.
One mic. I get the mic.
I'm Chris Waldmuser. I'm here with my wife at Destination Legal. We do contracts for coaches in the coaching industry through online template store, and we sell a legal product, trademarks.
Oh, yeah. Good stuff. Give them a round of applause, guys.
I love that they're a couple.
All right.
And they work together. I think that's cool.
This wifey right here. Just ditto what he said. There you go.
There
All
you
right,
go.
Sarah.
She's an attorney.
Okay. Got it. Awesome. Go ahead.
My name is Ken. I'm a little unique. I'm a retired entrepreneur, inventor for the last 30 years, and I am just enjoying learning and seeing what the community of innovation does.
I love that. Give him a round of applause.
Yes. Ken, thanks for
I'm
coming.
an inventor too, Ken. We'll talk about it. Go ahead.
I'm Jennifer O'Neill. I am new to the startup space, so I am taking my baby steps, or maybe I'm, that's what I drowned. I don't know. I'm just trying to feel things out and see which direction I want to take next.
All right. Awesome. All right. We're going to come over here in the front. I know you're getting your coffee, but you got to say something now.
Hello, everyone. I'm Christy Holland. I have a business called Gutted Fitness, and I help Black entrepreneurs and creatives discover and manage their wellness during the entrepreneur journey.
Oh,
Ooh.
wow. That's awesome. We
Yeah.
need that round of applause.
Yes, very good.
Right.
Nice to meet you.
Good stuff. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Mark Artem, and I have a crazy idea that I hope I can find the inspiration to go after. So I'm just trying to get my ducks in a row and do my homework, and hopefully one day have a startup here.
All right.
All
Give him a
right,
round of
Mark.
applause.
Go after it, Mark.
Well, we're a duck row getter up here, man.
Yeah,
We're going to help you out.
absolutely.
Go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Corey Canterbury. I'm a consultant for an outsourced HR company called TriNet.
Awesome. Yeah, I heard it. Try it. A round of applause. Good stuff. All right, these two back here. Who'd like to go first?
I'm Robbie Robinson. I'm here with my girlfriend, Hannah Switzer.
Another couple.
Full-time students, and we're working on a startup in specialty coffee catering called Crema Coffee.
Nice.
love it. I love
Awesome.
it.
All right. Good stuff. Girlfriend, anything to add? No, he said it. He did it. Good job. All right. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Devonna Smith. I own a clothing brand called See Me on Human Too.
See Me On.
For anyone who wears ready to be seen. And then I do an enterprise that helps with scholarships to help those people also become seen with their own brand.
Awesome.
Love it.
Round of applause.
Thank you
I
for
love
coming.
it. All right. All the way in the back.
The corner crew.
Purple hair. Come on, Mary.
I'm Mary Scott. I created the Startup Resources Guide for St. Louis, and I consult with startups, particularly early stage, to get them on the right path faster and more effectively with perfect resources.
All right. I love that. A
Love
perfect
that.
resource.
Mary.
Hi, I'm Kate Orr. I'm the Vice President of Solutions at Greater St. Louis Inc., and we are driving the economic growth across the whole metro region, 15 counties, 7 in Missouri, 8 in Illinois,
Wow.
big place. And get to work with businesses and
That's right. Awesome. Round of applause.
Hi, Haley Johnston. I wear a lot of hats, but I am mainly the program manager at the Chaffetz Center for Entrepreneurship at SLU, and I am on the leadership team for Startup Week. So thank you all for being here.
All
Thanks,
right.
Haley.
Thank you. Here we go.
Hi, my name is Alyssa. I'm a virtual assistant, so I work for small business owners and I help take tasks off their back end so that they can focus on growing their brand and the operations of their business.
God, we
Love
love
it.
you.
Yeah.
We love you.
Need one of them.
Woo. Yes.
Two. We need two.
We need two. Round of applause. All right, go ahead. All right, cool. The money man.
Need him
We
too.
got a money man
Need
in
him
here.
too.
That's what I'm talking about. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Lindsay Skrzynski. I'm the founder of City Black Communications, and we help other small businesses and civic organizations share their story, and we're helping with the Startup Week social.
Outstanding.
See me snapping pics?
Uh-huh.
Good.
Just smile.
Can you tag us on these something?
I know, yeah. Let people know we were here. Okay.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Dawn Richards. I kind of wear many hats as well, but I'm the Career Pathways Director for the St. Louis region. I work for Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, so that's one hat. Another hat, I am a small business owner. I own Dawn's Designs and Invitations, etc. I do custom items, t-shirts, invitations, all sorts of things. And I'm also founder of a nonprofit, Titus II Foundation, where I help young people do their career pathways, post-secondary opportunities.
Outstanding.
And she's my friend.
Oh,
Hi, Don. Thanks for coming.
Go ahead.
Courtney Curtis, aspiring entrepreneur.
All right, Courtney.
My name's Kevin Corwin. With me is my business partner, Mark Meyer. We are developers and co-founders of a software platform called Inscope. It's designed specifically for capital programs and capital program and project management.
Outstanding.
Love
Thank
it.
you, gentlemen.
Thank
Round of
you.
applause for everybody. Awesome. Well, you know, we did a whole lot of talking. And we definitely want to give you an opportunity to know a little bit about who we are. But I love show and tell, don't you? In school, didn't anybody love show and tell?
You to bring your
pet
stuff?
frog
Yeah.
to school, you know, stuff like that, and show them a little bit. So we're going to show you guys something just a little bit that'll really help you understand who EBB is, better known as Entrepreneur Business Basics. And we think this may kind of tell the story just a little bit. I pray that this sound works. I pray that it does. And it's not.
It doesn't work.
Is it? Is it on here?
I don't see anything.
Oh, you don't see anything.
It's just still the same screen. Who is EBB?
Oh. Okay. Well, it would have been smart to probably try this first. It would have been smart to try it. So right now we're still in this mode. Let's go here. Let's get out of this. So you guys are going to go on this journey with me today.
I hope you don't have anything inappropriate up. That would be
No. That's
terrible.
the other computer.
That's the other one. Okay.
Jeez Louise. Guys, I'm boring. I don't do anything. I really don't. I promise you. Uh-oh.
What do you think?
I think we may just have to tell them.
Yeah, well, we can do that.
Let's just tell them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
We can do that.
And you know, I want to introduce Miss Kira Cherie,
Thank
soon
you.
to be.
Soon to be his wife.
Boom!
How about that? Yeah.
Look at that!
Very excited. Very
I
excited.
done done good, ain't I?
He did do very good. He did. So my name is Kira Cherie. Kira means shining light, and Cherie means beloved. And I'm the CEO and founder of EBB, which is Entrepreneur Business Basics. I founded that business in Kansas City in 2014 after seeing a gap in our ecosystem as it relates to being able to service minority entrepreneurs. We have a 12-week cohort that we have written a curriculum for. Our curriculum is called JUMP. It's fully accredited and it's totally automated. We teach the cohorts in 12-week sessions, and it takes the entrepreneur all the way from ideation to launch. We teach them how to pitch. We talk to them about their customer development, discovery, market research, all of the things that an entrepreneur needs to really be able to get up off the ground. And so I'm honored to be here today. I'm super excited about our migration and expansion into the St. Louis market. We currently serve 66 counties in the state of Kansas, and we've graduated over 600 entrepreneurs over the last 5 years, so we're pretty proud about that. We have 15 facilitators that teach the content, so I don't have to do it. I actually learned how to scale. Can you believe that? In addition to that, we're also housed inside of urban high schools in the state of Kansas and Missouri. We have a new pilot that we're working on right now with Confluence Academies for the next 4 years. So high school juniors and seniors will learn about entrepreneurship. So if you don't know, that's what I love. I love to teach people to be entrepreneurs because I really feel like entrepreneurship is freedom. And I feel like if you should own anything, you should own yourself. And so what we're doing in St. Louis right now is we've opened up a satellite office here, and we have one in Chesterfield, Missouri as well. And we're working to really just make friends in the ecosystem. We want to make sure that we are solving a problem and not overlapping services. So today we're going to be talking about scaling. Are you really ready to scale? I think a lot of times people get stuck on that. But before we get into that, I would love to introduce my fiance, my soon-to-be husband.
She said fiance.
He is fianced. And you know, this is really not an act. We really are this way.
Really
and that was what we were hoping to be able to show you, but you can go to our website. We've got a couple of good videos that are out there. But this is Cedric Cobb, and I'm going to say this about him because he's not going to tell you. So I'm going to steal his thunder. But before he is anything, he really is a powerful person in the ecosystem. He did create a product called the Best Pocket Square Holder. And that product landed him on ABC Shark Tank. He was a winner on season 10. Yeah, let's give it up for him. That's a big feat. Season 10, episode 21. But what I really enjoy most about his entrepreneurial mind is that he talks about being able to take your idea. And a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we just want to talk about the sexiness of entrepreneurship. He does have a book that's called The Witty Ideas and Inventions, 12-Step Guide to Launching Your Business. He's got some copies here, which he'll probably not tell you either, but because I'm almost the wife, I can say what I want, I think, a little bit.
Is that how it goes?
I think so. Hannah, me and Sarah talked about this. We talked about this. And so we've got some copies of the book here, and he does have some product here. So if you all would love to buy one, we would love to sell it to you, okay? So without further ado, Cedric Cobb.
You are so sweet, honey. I'm going to take you and feed you good today.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Feed you real good today. So in addition to that, I also act as the vice president of EBB as well. And, you know, obviously it's such a great natural ebb and flow to being an entrepreneur full-time and understanding what some of the pain points are. I wish I had EBB at the time when I first started about 8 years ago. I've been full-time entrepreneur since then. God has extremely blessed me. I've sold my product, the Best Pocket Square Holder, in all 50 states, shipped it to over 65 countries, have over 500 points of distribution across the country. We've got about every kind of award you can possibly think of, been featured in Forbes, Inc. magazine. It's been awesome. And then on top of that, as we talk about scaling, I did get a handshake deal with Damon John for on Shark Tank, but I also came home and got a $250,000 investor from a private investor here in St. Louis as well. So I say we probably know a little bit about what we're talking about. Just a little bit. We know a little bit about what we're talking about here. So that's kind of enough about us. We can talk more in open forum later, but we really want to get into giving you guys some great content, all right? So is that cool? Can we get started? All right, awesome. Guys, can I be honest with y'all for a second? Y'all kind of dead, man. Y'all don't make entrepreneurship sound fun at all. Y'all don't make it seem fun at all. But I hope that changes for you guys to say, because we're going to have fun.
Yeah, we are.
All right? We're going to have fun.
You just have fun watching us.
And truth be told, we charge a lot of people to do this. Charge a lot of money to do this. So we're going to have fun at it no matter what.
Absolutely.
Okay?
I'm ready whenever
all right,
you are.
You ready, baby?
I think so.
Okay, so we're talking about scalability.
Yes.
And getting into this thing.
And everybody should have a worksheet.
Yes.
If you didn't get one, let me know, and I can pass it out to you very quickly. Thank you.
During those awkward silence times, I may sing, so if you need to leave the room to spare yourself, I understand.
I think we can skip this. We can skip this.
We can skip this one?
Yeah. I already kind of touched on that.
Well, so what we want to do, we wanted to show you the difference between we just look at a brief timeline. So EBB is a little bit more of a service business, right? A little bit more of a service business, great services, great content, amazing program from top to bottom. And then we also wanted to be able to share with you also more of a product-based business, which is Best Wardrobe Solutions, which is the company we own as well. That's the whole Shark Tank business as well. Everything from launching a product, the introduction of the actual product to the market, adding new products to what we already have, also being attractive to new partners. That's what, we made over $1 million by 2018, just basically starting in 2016. The Shark Tank thing and other investors of $250,000 came on board, and other reality shows came on board as well. So we've been featured on a lot of things. And guess what, guys? We had to pivot in the pandemic. So let me share this with you, because it's a very real thing that could happen. We don't know when the next pandemic is coming. We pray it never happens the rest of our life, right? But we didn't know the first one was coming either, right? So when it did come, guess what? People wasn't wearing no clothes. Everybody's at home, half dressed, on Zoom, right? That's what happened. So how does a business like mine survive? Well, guess what? I partnered with the people who were helping me manufacture my custom-made suits and my ties. And guess what? They said, listen, Cedric, no one is looking for custom suits right now. They said the world needs KN95 masks and surgical masks and personal protection equipment, and we can make it, but we don't have anybody to sell it to. I said, not a problem. I can sell anything. So we partnered together, came up with a whole process to get things done, and we were literally in St. Louis, the #1 distributor of personal protection equipment for about 12 weeks running, because we were the only ones that had anything on hand. Everybody, it took 4 to 6 to 10 weeks to get product in. But through partnership and pivoting, guys, we made more money in 12 weeks than we did all the year of 2018. That's a pivot for you, right? That could happen to your business. So when you talk about scalability, build yourself to be nimble. Build yourself to be lean. Build yourself to say, hey, I got to stop on a dime. I got to pivot and go this way in this season, and I'll come back to this again. And it kept us alive, because really, truth be told, had that pivot not happened, I wouldn't be standing here having a conversation about this business, because it would have been gone, right? And then you take it even further, pivot it even more with other platforms, launched a new strategy, and then right now doing even a new relaunch, because most of the people who are now customers, they don't know who we are. They didn't see our episode back in 2018, so they need a new introduction, okay? So we just wanted to be able to show you the difference between the two, that sometimes service versus product, trust me, it's a lot of headaches with this product thing.
How many people have a service-based business? It can be difficult, because you're trying to get people to believe that I'm going to give you a lot of money and walk away with nothing in my hand, right? But then the same is true for product-based businesses, because they cost what they cost, and you can only sell them for however much you can sell them for. How many people have a product-based business? You sell a product. Look at these two, I love it. Product-based businesses? Yeah. So that's the other thing. And part of what Cedric is talking about, being nimble, is what sales channels do you actually already have, and what can you put in that channel should what you're selling isn't needed anymore. So I think we got a good mix of product and service.
I think so.
Yeah, in here, for sure. Okay. Are you ready for me, sir?
I am ready for you, man.
Okay, great.
So I get to sit down and just look at you.
Oh,
Glory
there are other
to God.
people looking too. So the first thing we're going to talk about is in scalability. I think what happens with a lot of entrepreneurs is that you really get so busy doing the work of the business that you really don't take time to evaluate. And you cannot scale if you're not having some healthy evaluations of the business. Evaluating the business is not based on how many likes you have, how many Instagram followers you have. That is not going to tell you how well your business is doing, especially if you're not in the habit of already talking to somebody that's a consultant for you, somebody who can coach you or mentor you, that's detached from your feelings and can really give you a great evaluation of the business. So on your paper, I want you to think about your product or your service as we're going through this presentation. So if you don't have a pen, borrow one from your neighbor. We can try to get some pencils if we need to. But I want you to walk away with some tangible things today so that you know exactly when you leave here what it is that you need to be working on. So the first part is to evaluate. We're going to talk about evaluating your product, your price, and your position. This beautiful young lady is one of our JUMP cohort graduates. She's an alumni for us. Talk about a full scale circle moment. India is now also a certified facilitator for us. She launched her business and she hosts our cohorts inside of her selfie studio. And so these are things that as you're thinking about your business and evaluating yourself, you need to be thinking high and beyond where you are right now. I think I'm ready. First thing we're going to talk about is evaluating your product. If you don't have a product, evaluating your service. Is it even scalable? Because sometimes we fall in love with our own ideas and ourself, that we're building a business around something that nobody else is going to want in another year or two. So the first question I want you to ask yourself, and to grade on your own paper, everybody grade their own papers, ask yourself, do you have a scalable product? Is there another iteration of your product? Is there something else that happens inside of your product or service that you can now build these branches, these legs, these vines on? Did you have a question, Chris?
You started answering it, just how you define scalable, and you're starting to get into that, yeah.
Yeah. How do you define scalable? That's a good thing. So if I have one thing, what now can this thing still operate and survive, and now I can branch off and I can add something else? I can either partner a service on there, or it becomes something that now has a subsequent accessory that can go with it. So is it something that can scale?
So not specifically scale in terms of the single product with additional channels of growth, month over month, year over year.
So yeah, that's a part of scaling. So let's say I have one product, and I want to take this one product, but I want to scale it in a new market. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Yeah. But then does that product have other tentacles? Right? Does it have other tentacles? If there's one thing that it can do that and this? Does your product or your service have an opportunity to scale? Can it even scale? Or did you just do a one-hit wonder? You got one number one hit and we're never going to hear from you ever again. Does the product have a next level? That's another way for you to test, can it scale? If it does this on this level, what will it do if I put it on another level, if I put it in another setting? So if I use the example of what we did with JUMP, the curriculum, I was just doing it for adult learners. But I wanted it to be much bigger than that. Well, everybody doesn't want to be an entrepreneur, Kira, so I can't sell JUMP to every single person in the zip code. But who else can I sell it to? How can I take the same content, maybe tweak it, and now I have a whole nother segment of customers? It has a next level. I can go even deeper. Now that I know it can go for adult learners, can I now segment it out even further and say, well, what if I want to take JUMP and I want to make it for people who are re-entering the workforce coming out of prison? That's a whole nother lane and a whole nother set of customers. So it can scale and scale and scale and scale. Does your product or your service have a next level? This is all about evaluation. And then this one I love. And Cedric, I want you to talk about the hit by the bus test. I hadn't heard that until I met him. Does the business exist beyond you? Now, I go to church, so I know everybody don't go to church. But sometimes when you start in a church, a small ministry, you got to be the pastor and the usher. You got to take the offering. You got to be working on the parking lot. Plus, you got to get back. You got to do praise and worship, stand up, teach the message, and then close the building up because you got to come back on Tuesday and cut the grass. Right? As entrepreneurs, we can be doing that. I know I'm not the only one. Come on, y'all, don't leave me hanging. Have you ever felt like that? Like if I don't actually do the books and then hop over here and do the marketing and then the graphics, oh, we need a video? Okay, I got to make the video. I'm in the video. Now I have to go edit the video of what I made of myself and then add it to all of the. That can happen if you're not scaling properly. Talk about the hit by the bus test.
Oh my goodness. So listen, the hit by the bus test I learned. Has anybody ever heard of a company called Priceline.com? You heard of Priceline, right? You know, Priceline negotiation, right? We remember those commercials. Well, Priceline is one of the very few companies ever gone from $0 to $1 billion in revenue in 4 years, okay? And one of the co-founders, Jeff Hoffman, agreed to mentor me for a year. And Jeff, it was just amazing. He actually wrote the foreword to my book as well, man. A billionaire, so it was just a huge honor for that to happen. But he also co-authored a book called Scale. Isn't that ironic, right? He co-authored a book. You guys need to really go get this. It's available on audio as well. And he co-wrote it with a guy named David Finkel, who runs like the Maui Mindset. He's like a big-time business life coach type guy. Well, this book will help you understand how to scale your business. Obviously, they went from 0 to $1 billion in 4 years. They know a little bit about scaling, right? And then the other thing you don't know, he had a couple other companies in conjunction with that went from 10, 15 million up to hundreds of millions of dollars simultaneously as that was going up as well with Priceline.com. Well, one of the things he talks about in the bus is to realize what level business you are. And I realized that my business was a mid-tier level 2 business. Mid-tier level 2, which means that I don't pass the hit by the bus test. Have you guys, now surely you guys have watched Shark Tank, right? And when you watch Shark Tank and Mr. Wonderful comes up and he says, well, what's going to happen? You know, you get hit by a bus tomorrow or something like that. Like, he's really not joking. He's serious. My investors that's in here, sir here in the back that's an investor, you want to make sure that businesses pass the hit by the bus test, don't you? Because if everything rises and falls on me, I got the vision, I'm doing all the work, I'm doing everything, but you X me out, what happens to the business?
Yeah.
It's gone, right? And there goes his investment as well. Now, when you got officers and you've got a strong team and they understand the vision and those types of things that are going on, the business lives on beyond me because I thought to scale what I have and make sure that it lives on beyond myself. So when you think about your business, what happens if we X you out? And so the book talks about this. In order to scale, you have to have systems, processes, and controls in place. Systems, processes, and controls. That's the only way you're going to eventually pass the hit by the bus test.
So how many people in here right now you know your business could pass the hit by the bus test? Right? So this is all good, right? Well, you got, what if both of you get hit though? Then we're done. We're in the same boat. Right? But it is so important too, when you start talking about scaling your business, that you bring on the right type of partners and that you are willing to outsource what it is that you can't do. You cannot scale without outsourcing. At some point, you're going to have to trust somebody to do something, like our sister all the way in the back, virtual assistants, if you're going to pass the hit by the bus test, okay? You guys still following along? Is this good? Give me a thumbs up if it's good. Good, good, good. Okay. Life cycle. Ask yourself, what is the current life cycle of your product, of your idea? Are you still in ideation? I say it this way. If you haven't made any money, you're still dreaming. You have to be able to make a sale. Is the product generating any revenue? And eventually, the question should be, is it generating any profit? But are you in the ideation stage? You're still you got your dream markers. I call them dream markers. I love dream markers. You need that. But then at some point, you have to get past that if you're going to be in business. Are you in a prototype? And if you're a service-based business, sometimes we think of a prototype like a pilot. You know, I'm going to pilot this. I'm going to try this. This is my beta. I'm going to see if this actually works. But at any point, you should be able to identify where you are. Are you in the market? Like, we're not even trying no more. We're out here. I was going to say something inappropriate. Everything is on the line. I'll put it out like that. And it's got to float or we're all going somewhere not good. And then you've got that for about 1 to 2 to 3 years. And then at some point, your business should start growing. It should. You shouldn't be in the same spot for like year 4 or 5. If you are, it's a good chance some of this hasn't manifested, okay? Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Next thing we're going to talk about is evaluating your prices. Let's talk about costs very quickly. I want you to ask yourself about your product or your service, is it priced to scale? Have you priced it too high? And now in order for you to scale and make more, you got to hike the price up and it's not even nobody's going to buy it. You're going to take it to a place that's not even valuable in the market because you're trying to sell it at such a high rate. One of the things that I love to talk about inside of Jump is knowing your market, where you are in the market ceiling. So you have a market floor, that's the lowest price, right? After you understand your pricing, and then there's the ceiling. Nobody's going to pay more than that. They're just not. You ought to be somewhere in between that. Do you know where you are? Have you outpriced yourself? That's one thing you need to evaluate. What's the cost of your service? And where are you getting that number from? Did you just pull it out the air? Well, I think I'm worth $75 an hour. Well, what does your customer think you're worth? And if you do need to adjust the price, how much more education are you going to have to do in order to convince the market that you're worth that price? Are you currently covering all your costs? I think a lot of times we get stuck in that when it comes to product-based businesses versus more so than service, because you don't always count every, what were we talking about the other day? You said down to the pickle.
Down to the pickle, yep.
Knowing what your costs are down to the pickle.
Yeah, I want to add this to this too. I think it's really, really good. So in between costs and in between competition, there has to be very strong value, okay? Very strong value. I think it's important for me to talk about this really quickly because a lot of people struggle in between these two things, cost and competition. If you want to really create this competitive advantage for yourself, then value is strictly important. I got a great example. For instance, I love fragrances, all right? I like to smell good because she likes it, right? You know, us guys wear cologne, not for us, but to attract the ladies. And so if you think about, anybody in here like fragrances? Everyone, a lot of other folks do. Okay, so listen, you go to the fragrance counter, you got 3 options. You can get this small bottle of whatever the perfume or cologne is, let's call it $40. Then you got the medium size, which is $75, or you can step up big time to the $200 bottle, right? So you got $40, $75, and $200. Now, if you want the small one, it's $40, it's an even exchange. You want the medium one, it's $75, it's an even exchange. But if you want to step up to the $199 bottle, we've got this beautiful duffel bag for you that is chock full. It's got tumblers in it. It's got a bath towel in it. It's got all it. They're valued at $199 if you buy this $199 bottle of perfume. Now, when you step up to this big bottle of perfume and you get that because, yeah, I want that bag too. Well, they got you now, right? Because now you create that to be your signature smell. You use it all year. You come back, let's call it Famous. I'm sorry, not Famous, Macy's.
Macy's.
You go to Famous, so you go to Macy's, and you come back to that same counter, and he's like, yeah, I want to get the big bottle of that again. And they're like, okay, not a problem. How much is it? $199. Boy, you guys got any gifts with it? Nope, we sure don't. But you're going to buy that bottle again for $199 and without getting the bag. What was the bag? The bag was a value proposition for you to entice you to buy the bigger one, but it kept the integrity of their pricing the same. You see what I'm getting at? But if you would have come in and you would have bought that same bottle of cologne, and it was a sale that day, $50 off, and you ran through it in a year, and you came back, how hard is it mentally to wrap your mind around paying $50 more for something that you paid $50 less for a year ago? Difficult to do, isn't it? So you got to be really careful with your costs versus your competition, because the value is extremely important. Because once you take that thing and put it on sale, you may say, oh, limited time only. Well, that same customer is still going to have a hard time coming back, buying that same thing at an elevated retail price again. So be very, very mindful of that because it can ruin your ability to scale.
I love that. Value. So what's in the middle is the value. The value proposition between your cost and your competition. Do you know what your market ceiling position is? Do you know what your value proposition is in the market? Another very important point when it comes to evaluating your prices. Okay, I think I'm ready. All right, there it is. How about that? Value proposition. Ask yourself, how much of the market do you actually own? What share of the market do you own or are you looking to capture? How are you going to find that out? You got to know who your competition is and how much of it they've already got. Where are the opportunities in your market to grow is also another question you need to ask yourself as you're scaling. And then what advantage do you have to penetrate the market? What's going to make your business so much more attractive that you can penetrate the market and get in there and get another part of it?
Kira, I got a great example.
Okay, go
there's
ahead.
there's a case study we did. I'm going to screw these numbers up, okay? So don't hold me to it, but they're somewhere in this world, give or take. There's a company. Anybody here drive a Subaru? You drive a Subaru?
Yeah.
Awesome. Typically for what?
Outdoors.
Safety, huh?
Oh, I was gonna say outdoorsy.
Outdoorsy, reliable, safety, right? Well, one of the things about Subaru now, you think about the whole car market. You talk about Chevy, you talk about Lexus, you talk about Ford, all them. They own big shares of the automotive market. But Subaru, I think, only owns about 6 or 7% of the automotive market. But they have more cars on the road per sales, per amount of vehicles that's been produced than any other vehicle on the road. Subaru's like, listen, Ford, GM, shh. Don't worry about what I'm doing over here. Just, it's cool. I'm good with this 7%. I'm fine with this. But then when you look at what 7% is, 7% of that market is huge. But they're not trying to be in competition with Ford. They're not trying to be in competition with Chevy at all. They figured out their niche. They're going to hit that niche hard and own it, and they own it completely. Because people who drive Subarus. They do. And it's a great vehicle. And they even show you it's going to be the safest thing for your kid to drive. It's reliable. And in certain cases, some people say, oh, it's not as sexy as other cars. That's not what their goal is. That's not what their goal is. But we're going to own this 7%. So just because you have a smaller piece of the market, it doesn't mean that piece is bad. Some people say, oh, well, it's a niche product. Do you know how much money niche products make? Ugly sweaters? What's their window of opportunity to make money? It's a very short period of time. But it's worth tens of millions of dollars. Is that really bad? No, it's not really bad. So I don't want anyone to think that, well, because I'm not going after the big boys, I'm not trying to be number one, that I'm not going to survive. It's not. You figure out what part you're going to own of that market and your penetration, and it still can be extremely valuable, even though it's a small piece of a humongous pie.
Love it. I love it. Okay. So let's talk about very quickly. I don't know how much time we have. Who's the timekeeper? 2:09. Okay. So I want to talk about evaluate. Can you go back one? Oh, that's what it was. Okay. Yeah, evaluate. We're going to talk about, elevate. We talked about evaluating your products, your prices, and your position in the market. Now let's think about elevating your business. So we're going to talk about researching, refreshing, and relaunching. Do your internal research. I can't tell people enough. When you're ready to scale, a lot of times people always want to focus on what everybody else is doing, but it's going to be important that you do internal, inside you, the entrepreneur, what it is that you're doing on an everyday basis. I already know you're cooking, cleaning, washing the dog, and running a business, but it's important that you do internal research. You don't need to continue to spend all your time on what the market is doing and then think that you're going to take that information and be able to scale. Conduct a SWOT analysis. That is the oldest analysis in the world. It is absolutely free. If you Google SWOT analysis, they will give you a gazillion templates, and the formula is the same. It's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. After you do that, the question you need to be asking yourself is, what can grow if I had some support or focus? And think about your business right now. What can grow if you spent more focus and more intention on a particular area? Write it down on your paper. What can grow? If I spent 30 more minutes a day focused on this, if I gave this a little more attention and some support, what can actually grow so that I can scale it? And then what's trending in your market? What is the market going to do here in a little bit? And then looking inside, can I support that? Is that something that I know I've got that one thing in waiting in the wing, and now it's going to be time to unleash that. So be sure that you're doing some internal research. I'm ready for the next one. Refreshing your brand, and I say to do this often. Now, my degree is in digital imaging. My very first business, I started doing logos and branding, okay? And you will get mixed reviews. Somebody say Kira's advice.
Kira's advice.
This is just Kira's advice. Thank you, baby, for saying it. I think you were the only one.
I was the only one.
Yes.
Oh, I deserve a kiss
Thank
for that.
you.
Come
Thank
on.
you.
Thank you, baby.
Refresh your brand often, and here's why I'm saying that. Because even just like trends, if people get tired of seeing your logo and maybe it's not as appealing as you think it is, it can really prevent you from having a presence. And you get stuck because, you know, somebody from your past life gave you a sketch of their grandma and they think this is what your logo should be, and it means nothing to anybody but you and them, and it gets passed over. Consider refreshing your brand often. Refreshing your brand can bring back attention to what you already have. You may have some great stuff happening, but it just needs a little uplift. It needs a refresh. And then it may give you a boost in the market because now this is free. Now I don't actually have to create anything new. I just need to refresh what I already have. And the announcement is, hey, tune in for our new logo. It's an unveiling. It's a whatever you want it to be. It's a countdown to the new brand. What's that going to do? It's going to drive people to you. It's going to attract them to come back and look at that same old sweater that you're selling for $10. But now they're looking at it again because you've refreshed your brand, okay?
I can tell you I did the same thing. So I've had 3 different iterations of my logo, 4 different iterations of my website, right? And 3 different iterations of the packaging of our box. And I always made every one of those a big deal. And I think I'm on my 2nd or 3rd iteration of our free mobile app. Yeah, that's awesome.
And so talk just a little bit, Cedric, about why you had to continue to I'm thinking about the box in particular.
Yes. Well, the box, which is so cool, and one of the things you guys maybe didn't get a chance to see on Shark Tank, because you're actually in there an hour, and the world only sees 11 minutes. So in there, it was such a great time, and Lori Grenier just gave me praises like you would not believe about our packaging. She says, I love your packaging. This is very well put together. I don't know who helped you with your packaging, but I wouldn't change a thing. It's so polished. It's so elevated. This is shelf ready already. And that was one of the things. If you're going to have the opportunity to scale and get into big box retailers, your packaging has to be right. And if it's not right, because you got to think about how you want it on the shelf. Is it a peg product? Is it a shelf product? Is it something that's going to go in a container? Is it a bundleable? Is that a word? A bundleable product, right? And so the packaging needs to be very polished because that's what a lot of people are judging you off of. And some people say, oh, you should just put it in a cellophane bag and sell it to them. Well, I'm not. Well, I'm only going to be able to get $10 for it because it looks like I wasn't intentional, right? But when you really put that level of thought into it with instructions and QR codes and the packaging and how it's made and how durable the packaging is, you can garner a higher price. But if you haven't put that level of effort and intentionality into it, then people will automatically cheapen your brand because you told them to. You told them to do it. Say, yeah, this is all I think about it because this is what I wrapped it in. I'm going to give it to you this way. I'm like a huge gift giver. And I like the packaging to look just as pretty as what's in it. So everyone that knows me, they're like, oh my God, I'm getting a gift from Cedric. Oh, I already know it's going to be awesome. And it is. It's going to look great. I'll walk across a crowded room with it. And it's got this big bow on it that's gorgeous. And people are like, what's that? Who's getting that? Oh my God, is it for me? Can I get one too? Because the presentation is so beautiful that it doesn't even matter what's in it at that point. So presentation, just as we are here, we got dressed, we look good and smell good. We want to make sure our presentation is right to you. That's out of respect for the environment, right? So your branding goes beyond just your product because you're a part of your product too, all right? So the packaging is very, very important.
Thank you so much for that. So refresh your brand often. How often is often, Kira? I would say look at it every 3 to 5 years. And you don't have to like go from burgundy and cream to over here purple and yellow, right? You can stay in the same hue. You can get a different tone of the color, but you do need to keep it fresh. You have to keep that thing fresh. Okay. And then relaunch it. Claim your season in the market. When do people look to see your brand in the market? When are people looking to do business with you? Don't you sit here and lie and say all year, because they're not.
I can tell you mine. Mine is, check this out. I found this out the hard way. So you would think for Father's Day, our sales would be crazy, right? Nope. Terrible for Father's Day. But what they are high for is Mother's Day. And I was like, what is this all about? Well, it's because mothers do a better job of celebrating Mother's Day than dads do celebrating Father's Day. But what do dads typically have to do? They got to take mom out. Mom's got to go out, take her to dinner. We're going to spoil her. And guess what? You don't want to hear your mom's mouth. Well, it looks like you could have put on a suit. You got those frumpy shoes on. And no, you're going to dress up for mom, take her out to dinner, make her feel really good. But then when we get to Father's Day, we want to be left alone. Isn't that right? Most of the time, we want to be left alone. I want to go play golf. I want to just sit around the house. I want to keep my pajamas on all day. Just kind of leave me alone, and I'm pretty happy. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. So I thought that Father's Day, I'm putting all this advertising dollars into Father's Day. I'm like, we about to kill it. No.
What's your second season? What's your second
season is actually prom.
Okay.
Used to be Easter, but people don't dress up to go to church anymore. But prom is a big one. Kids are spending an astronomical amount of money to go to prom because they want to be like Jay-Z on the red carpet. They want to be like the baby. These ladies want to have these extravagant gowns, and they're making sure their boyfriends are going to be well put together. So prom is a huge one. And now homecoming. So all of that shifted post-pandemic because the pandemic, those kids missed all of it. And so they watched the kids before them miss it, and they're like, oh no. And we get our opportunity to go to homecoming and go to prom, we're going all in. So now homecoming has went from jeans and T-shirts to more formal wear now, and prom has, because everybody can't go to prom, right? You got to be like a sophomore, a junior, junior, senior, right? But everybody can go to homecoming. So that's been a bigger one, and then obviously Christmas.
So do you guys know when people look to see your product in the market? You should know that. When is your season? And are you ready to invest in improving your products and launching them out there? Okay, I think we got just a few more slides. So after you evaluate and you've elevated your business, you've gone through that process, you need to evaluate again. That is a complete cycle. You should be doing this on a continuous basis. Elevate again. We're going to talk about 3 C's, and then we're going to be wrapping up. We got about 10 more minutes. So the first C is capacity. What is the current capacity of the business? Growth demands that the entire model and the structure mature at the same time. So can you build and be growing at the same time? When I stopped teaching the cohorts, it was tough. I'm not even gonna lie, because I had built the business around what I love to do, which is to teach. But now it's out of control. I can't teach all these cohorts in 66 counties. I'd look like an idiot, right? And not only is that a small mindset, it doesn't give me an opportunity to allow other people to grow. Ooh, your business ought to help somebody else grow. You have to build your model and your structure. They need to be able to mature at the same time. So all while I was shifting from teaching, I had to be training teachers. And now what am I supposed to do with my time? Because I'm not training anymore. They're off doing their thing. So now I had to really think about what is my new business model and how am I building capacity? Do I need more professional development? I do. Do I need to pour back into myself? Absolutely. Do I need to add to the team? So I can't be out here saying, oh, I can do 5 schools in 100 counties. That sounds great, but if I don't have the other part of that working at the same time, those contracts aren't gonna last long.
To add to that about capacity, if you want to really figure out what your capacity is, let me give you guys a couple of tricks. This is priceless stuff, I promise you. One of the things, so one of my Shark Tank buddies, because a lot of us we still stay connected. We have to get together on our own because Shark Tank doesn't connect you. You got to like find each other, right? And so we have a nice network of about 400 people who've been on Shark Tank, and we all are kind of thick as thieves. And we share these really good things to do. So one of them is, now has anybody ever been a part of a focus group before? Anyone ever done it? Okay, did you guys get paid to do it? Yeah, you guys got paid to do it in most cases. I've had to hire people when I was an executive. I had to hire and pay tens of thousands of dollars to do focus groups, right? But there's something else that you can do. When you got friends and family who are like-minded, who are kind of in the same industry, or at least they understand entrepreneurship, or they'll be a great educated customer for you, get all of them in one place and do it's a form of an ideation session, all right? It's a form of an ideation session. You give them an executive summary of you, help them understand what all your assets are, what you do, your sales, your goals, those types of things. Lock them in the room, feed them really, really well, let them know you really appreciate them, and take a couple, 3 hours and let them just shoot holes in your business. Mm-hmm. And when you do that, what's left standing is your capacity. You know what's left. You know what? We withstood all that. We're still standing. We got about 16 holes in us, but we're still standing. Now we understand what our capacity is, and we understand what level of growth we can actually have at the same time. So now it's easier to move and go to other levels when you have as much information available to you to do it. So it's a form of a focus group, but you put it in the form of really like an ideation session. Get some folks together that you can trust and be willing to do the same thing for them. Mm-hmm. That's why having a community of entrepreneurs is so important, because we can share these things with each other, save each other a lot of money, and be able to give great advice to one another so you can understand what your capacity is. I've done this several times, and it has changed things tremendously for me.
I think that's a good place. You could maybe dovetail that with your SWOT analysis. So if they're doing some internal work, at the end of that SWOT analysis, it would be good for them to do a focus group. I'm talking to him. I'm talking to y'all. Sorry. If you're going to do an internal, you are going to do an internal. Just nod your head. We're going to do it, Kira. We're going to do it. You do your internal SWOT analysis, and then dovetail what Cedric is saying. Have that focus group happen, and do that stuff right in the same time frame, right? When we worked for other people, remember those days? Clocking in and out, man. Praise God. You get to really at the end of the year, what are they doing? They're forecasting for next year. You ought to be doing that stuff with your business. Nobody's going to come and say, hey, it's time for you to work on your business plan for next year. You have to do that. And so doing a SWOT analysis and then putting that focus group, that'll make for a great week of planning for you. So find some time to shut down and do it. I love that idea. Council, okay. Can we skip? And I'll come back to this. I want to end on that. Okay, you have to be consistent. Everybody knows that. No matter what you do, you can't scale if you're not consistent. So you need to know your capacity. You got to be consistent. And then I want to end on this council. As an entrepreneur, you all have a great ecosystem here in St. Louis. EBB is coming to add to that, to fill in gaps. And when you start thinking about building your team or building your people, you got to know who your 5 folks are in your boat. So I'm going to take you to church really quickly since you didn't go. Right? I know you didn't go. You went in your head. However you worship, I'm going to take you to a really quick parable in John. Everybody knows about walking on water. Peter was the one that got out the boat, right? He was like, if it's you, Jesus, call me, I'm coming. Peter steps out. He starts walking. he starts sinking. That's the Cliff Notes. I'll take the offering at the end. I'm joking. 5 people. So I always thought about the parable. And I'm like, well, what about the people that didn't get out the boat? What were they thinking? And who were they? You know, we know they were the disciples, but what was their mindset? Who were the people that were in Peter's boat at the time? And I just summarized it. I asked God for permission. He said, go ahead. So I came up with 5 folks. And I feel like you need to have these 5 people in your life as an entrepreneur. The first person is you need a cheerleader. You need somebody who's going to cheer for you and root for you and say, go, Peter, go. Even though he knows you're probably going to sink, he's going to root for you anyway. As an entrepreneur, you need that in your life because there's so many things that come against you. Taxes, rent. How am I going to get this product to market? Startup week was great, but now I got to go back here and I got to figure out how to pay the bill. You need a cheerleader in your life. The second person I believe was in the boat was a champion, somebody that was advocating for Peter. No, we're not going to talk about Peter. We're going to pray for Peter. Somebody who can speak well of you in your absence. Who is that person in your life? You should know these people. Who's your cheerleader? Who's your advocate? Somebody that's going to nominate you for the next grant. Somebody who's going to put your name forward for the next award. The third person is a critic. You ain't got to look far to find them. Oh, but you need to know who they are. And you should listen to them. Because your critic is going to tell you what's wrong with you. It's like Cedric just said, shoot all the holes in me, man, because I need to know where I'm wrong. Who is the critic in your life? Who was the person that was on the boat that was like, man, I hope he sinks. I'm so tired of him. He thinks he knows everything. You better know who your critics are, and you be wise to pay attention to them. Your critics most time will tell you just how good of a job you're doing. I love them. Fourth person is your companion. You need somebody in your life as an entrepreneur that's going to walk with just you, not the business, not what we're working on, not what's going on, how are things, are you scaling, did you make it? Just somebody who cares about Sarah. Who's checking on Jennifer? Who's going to check to make sure that Ken is good? You got to have a companion in your life. And the last person you need is somebody with childlike faith. Somebody that's watching you. Because it's going to keep you on your toes. Everybody in here, if you don't have kids, there's some little person that's watching you grow your business. And they're depending on you to make it. I can tell you in Black households, African American children are more likely to become entrepreneurs if their parents are. Right? And that's so important in our community. And so I want you to know who are those 5 people in your life. You cannot do this by yourself. And if you think that, you're misled already. So important that you have the right group around you. So if you haven't taken a picture of this, please do. Because I want you to be able to identify who are these people and write out their names. So you can remind yourself, I need somebody that's going to tell me the truth. Let me call her because I know she always got something to say. Right? So important. So that's what I wanted to end on. Anything you want to add to that?
As far as adding to that, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a lot of fun for us. I don't know about you guys. I tell you, we're going to have a good time. We're going to have a good time no matter what. And this is so much of the walk that we've had to walk already. So it's a lot easier to talk to you about the path of getting here. Some of you guys may already be scaling. Y'all businesses may be way bigger than ours, and that's fine. But guess what? We all have great knowledge and great expertise, and it sort of makes you a subject matter expert when you've walked that walk already, right? So we were really excited to be able to share this with you all. And there's other ways for us to still stay connected. Again, Spark is a huge staple in our ecosystem community. a huge staple. That's one of the reasons why in expanding EBB, we chose Spark in order to be our office space, our co-working space, and be a part of this ecosystem community. So we're not just here to be a one-hit wonder in front of you. We're also here to maybe be one of those people that's in your boat, okay? Be your boat. We're probably not as much critical as we are like cheerleaders or champions.
Yeah.
That's kind of our personality you can get. Like, you can do it.
You can do it.
You know,
You
you're
can
going to
do it.
get more of that from us than anything else. So, but with that, there are other things that we do, and we just want to make sure we have an opportunity to still stay connected, and we'll handle any questions you have. But here's just a few things. I'll turn this over to Ms.
So we're going to do a jump cohort here in person. If you are wanting to launch your business and you still are in the ideation phase, we're going to have one of our cohorts here. We'll have one virtually as well, but we're going to have it here in February. We're going to start it on February the 9th. It's 12 weeks. It's the fastest 12 weeks of your life. I cannot tell you every time it happens. They're like, I don't have 12 weeks. Yes, you do. You got 12 weeks. There's 30 topics inside of Jump that we cover. There's 6 modules, 15 assessments, and 8 business templates. So by the time you get done with it, you'll have that SWOT analysis that we talked about. Cedric actually teaches you how to pitch. We do give away some prize money as well. A business plan comes out of that. Your financial projections, your startup costs. So if that's something that interests you, we're giving it away, as Cedric would say. Somebody say Cedric said it, Kira didn't say it. But this is a crackhead price.
Cedric didn't say it.
$150 holds your spot. That's only for this particular group.
That's
okay?
normally $700.
It's a $700 class. So we're really just penetrating the market, so that is available, and I think there may be one more slide about follow us. You can go out here and scan the QR code. This will take you to our website. On the website, under Teams, you'll see Cedric's information. You can book his Calendly if you want to do a one-on-one consultation with him, or you'll see mine and you can book me if you want to do a one-on-one as well. And that's all I got. If you guys got questions, we'll take all of those right now. Yes, sir.
It just looks like your QR code isn't activated.
Oh, how about that?
Isn't that activated? Wow.
Well, here, take down the website.
EBBKC.com.
Thank you. KC.com. That's all my fault.
It's my fault. I should have checked it.
Well, I should have made sure it was right for you to check.
We'll own it together.
Just skip the slide. You didn't see it.
There you go. Q&A.
Q&A. Any questions, feedback? We would love to hear it.
Yes, sir. Another fellow inventor. Yes.
2 critical questions.
Yes.
First one, when are you getting married?
Wow, that's a critical question.
Very critical. Thank you.
December the 12th.
Second question, who chased who?
Who chased
Oh,
who?
wow.
Oh, it's definitely me chasing her.
Thank you.
Definitely me chasing her. We got to keep that thing in line. Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. That's awesome. I thought he was
A real question.
really crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, those are real
yes.
questions. I appreciate
Yes.
that.
Thank
Go ahead,
you.
yes, sir.
When does the program start for returning citizens?
Oh, people re-entering. I'm glad you said that because that's on our 2023. I would love to talk more with you about that if something you have an interest in. Yeah.
And
2023,
Yeah,
yes.
and there's even more wraparound services for that as well through some other partnerships we have. So that's going to be a great conversation to have. Good
Thank
stuff.
you for that.
Who else has got some questions?
Come
What
on,
you got?
gotta have
What
questions.
is re-entry? Are you talking re-entering market?
No, re-entry into from prison into the marketplace. Yeah.
Because most people who are re-entering into our community, they're felons.
Yeah.
And so getting a job is not really likely for them, something that they could really sustain a lifestyle with. And so many people go into entrepreneurship when they come out of prison, jail, whatever their situation was. So part of what we're doing is writing a portion of Jump. We're going to scale it so that we can really focus on that particular type of entrepreneur. What does their mindset have to be? How do they take those ideas? And I mean, you think about that, they've spent some time ideating. Yeah, and how do you take that ideation now and give it some life?
That's what's really beautiful about what we do. it can be customized for each thing. We're in talks with Rankin Technical College right now, and obviously that needs to have more of a technology service slant to it in order to really appeal to them. A lot of the foundational things are still the same, but there's some other things that have to change and be tweaked in order to make it work for somebody who's a plumber, someone who's an electrician, someone who's a roofer.
Automotive, yeah.
Yeah, automotive, those types of things. So what we have is definitely customizable, even when we take it from us doing adult learners, and then it's also taught in multiple high schools across the region. We had to change the rigors of it some for it to actually work for those kids and then be extended out to be a year-long program, and then even a younger program is called LEAP that's going to be for the grade
Middle
schoolers.
school.
Yeah,
Ah.
go ahead.
So excited.
So how long do you feel like you had to really have Jump going before you thought about scaling it to all these other places? Like 6 months, 3 years? Like
So that is a really good
That's a
question.
great question.
Mhm. So I had to make sure that I could one, that people still wanted it, right? And then I had to, even while I'm trying to see can I scale it, first I scaled in my neighborhood, right? I scaled in Kansas City. How many cohorts can I offer in Kansas City? And how many can I do? So I could say, yeah, there's a jump starting every week. No, it's not, because Kira has a whole life, right? So how many could I scale? And then once I grew past that and I could fill the cohort, then I knew I could take the same thing. And one of the things that Cedric was talking about was, where are you selling your product at, right? I teach entrepreneurs to be the big fish in a small pond. So I knew that Kansas City was rich with the entrepreneurial ecosystem. Kaufman's in our backyard. So I said, where are they not? They're not in rural Kansas. So let me go to another area. And then that's when I did as much as I could in my neighborhood. And then once I said, okay, this is an engine, it's running. I know I can do 3 cohorts a year. I probably can double up if I can get somebody to help me with it. All right, this is working. So I keep this rhythm going. Now I can do that and this.
Let me say this real quick before we go to you, Jennifer. The benefit of going where it is not is now EBB gained access to 66 counties that it did not have an opportunity to access before, and became board certified by the state of Kansas as one of the top programs to teach entrepreneurship in the entire state. By going where, okay, this is where everyone else is, well, let me go where they are not, and the opportunity lied there, and it's been a major benefit as a result of it. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Along those same lines, at what point did you determine that you were scaling, but you couldn't do it yourself and you needed to engage with the facilitators in the process?
Once I wanted to do more than one, okay, so I had a waiting list, right? So I would put the cohort out there. I know I don't want to do no more than about 20 entrepreneurs at a time, and really that's too many, but that's just Kira. And then I said, okay, well, if I can get somebody, maybe I can do another one. And once I did another one, then I realized this is for everybody that's doing their business on their own. I realized that I don't have to do everything.
That's right.
And it will still work. Because that was my problem. I was like, this is my baby. Nobody's gonna get up here and razzmatazz them like me. They come for Kira. They don't come for EBB, right? I had to divorce that concept. I'm never gonna scale if I have to be the beginning and the end of everything. So I had to release that. And the other way for me to release it and still have control over my brand was I said, I need to train them. So if I train them, then I know that what they're teaching is what I want my customer to get. But I knew once I had one and I had a waiting list, I said, now my ego's in the way. If I have to be at everything, then I really don't need a business. I really need to just try to go out here and be a superstar. Does that help?
Yes.
Yes.
So once you've determined that you are going to hire someone, specifically with regard to EBB, how did you figure out the right salary structure for them?
That's a good question.
That is really good.
Yeah. So how I figured it out was, I figured out how much would I charge somebody else to do it. If somebody said, Kira, we want you to come in and teach this 12-week cohort, what would I charge them? How much would I ask them for an hour to facilitate based on my skills, my knowledge, and my expertise in the industry? And then I took that and I multiplied it by the number of hours that I'm asking them to facilitate, and then I multiplied that by 12 weeks.
Okay, and then, so within that, are you paying your
Facilitators? Absolutely.
Are you paying them hourly or contract?
They're,
as a contractor or?
so yeah, they're paid per cohort that they teach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I pay them up front, which is a big risk, but it also has great rewards, right? Because I'm telling you, I trust you to do this. And because I've scaled, I got enough people, if you flake out on me, plus I got this contract, I can send somebody else to teach this class. But I really want to build relationship with you.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
So much so, too, to add to that, we actually do train people just to be facilitators. The cost of that, so keep in mind, you get a EBB certification, EBB Entrepreneurship Training Certification through us. And so that certification obviously can go at the bottom of your business cards, the footer of your website. It can also help you, like if you're a paid speaker and people want you to come in and speak about different things, and maybe you've never talked about entrepreneurship before, but because you've been going through our master facilitator training and you've taught a cohort probably, or even if you have not, you still have the certification nonetheless. So now it gives you another lane that you can actually speak in. So when you look at our speaker offerings, it's very vast because we got a lot of things that we can talk about at a high level because we've been subject matter experts at that or have certifications in that thing. So we do have some people that come to us that just want to get that certification and have the opportunity to be a facilitator at whatever appropriate time. We've got some folks that are already trained and they're already now to say, hey, I think I'm ready to teach a cohort. So in 2023, we already have them in line to do that, but they've had their certification for over a year already, but it's been helping them in real estate. It's been helping them in the financial world, those types of things, because it's like, wow, okay, maybe you understand my business better because you understand how to actually train entrepreneurs. You see what I mean? It makes that conversation more like-minded and more relatable because they feel like you have the entrepreneur mindset, not just the employer mindset, and you're selling me some insurance. Make sense? Awesome. Go ahead.
I have one last one. At what point do you determine the scale? If it's your side, like for lack of a better term, your side hustle for the time, where do you determine like stopping your full-time job?
Oh, that is a good one right there.
That's my favorite question right there.
I did that one.
When do I leave my full-time job? That's what you're asking? Yeah, so the recipe is simple, and I know we got to wrap up. The recipe is this. When the business can replace all of your paycheck, plus your benefits, plus your insurance, plus the taxes, and be profitable and sustain itself. And it might take you a while to get to that. And if you don't have any savings or you don't have any capital kind of tucked away, but then be making a plan for that to happen.
So up until that point,
you're scaling. You're doing as much as you can. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
I think we're out of time, but we'll still be around for a little bit if you guys have anything for us, okay? We love to stay connected with you all. If you guys want to obviously stay connected with us, it's ebbkc.com, or we're down this hallway. You can't miss it. You see this big EBB on the door. We love to stay connected,
and we'll
all right?
have books in here and pocket square holders if anybody'd like to pick some up.